How's it going, and welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. In this episode I'm going to be talking about the Strymon Sunset dual overdrive pedal. But before I do, please like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you can be notified every time I put out a new video. So I guess the first thing we should do then is take a listen to it in the track. So I found this to be an overdrive pedal, so I've kind of done this sort of, you know, straight ahead rock track as opposed to alternative rock, which is what I normally play, which is where I think straight ahead kind of rock sounds are where this best lives. So here you go. So, the Sunset. What this is my first ever Strymon pedal, first of all, so that's worth noting. I guess this is the Strymon are like a very much a boutique brand from the States, and they make amazing stuff where they amalgamate analog and digital technology. Predominantly they work in the digital realm, but this is a digital pedal, but it has a MOSFET input stage on it. So it's basically a digital overdrive pedal. So I'm going to be making two videos about this. The first is going to be this video where I just go through the tones of the pedal and stuff like that, and what kind of sounds are on offer. And then I'm going to make another video where I integrate it into my HXFX pedal board and show you all the different functionality that it has. Because I think if I was to make one video to cover off all that, it would just be too long. So this is purely about the sounds in this pedal. So what this is a dual, I'm trying to get in the light, is a dual overdrive pedal, right? So it has two sides. It has these three knobs, this switch and this foot switch. It has these three knobs, this switch and this foot switch. And they're two separate independent overdrive pedals. This side is kind of like the lower gain side, and this side is higher gain side, although that's not entirely accurate. Then on the back, you've got an input and an output, you've got an expression input, and you've got a favorite switch input, as well as two switches to control the brightness, and also to either have A into B, B into A, as in A and B sides, or parallel, okay? In this video, I stick all the time on A into B, and the bright switch is in the center position. Okay, so you've three different modes on each side. So on the A side, you've got a geranium, which is, and like, I don't know whether, I know one of them is based on a tube screamer, but I don't know what the rest of them are based on, and, which is kind of good. I'm just judging it on its own merits, as opposed to saying, oh, it's supposed to sound like X or it's supposed to sound like Y, right? So the geranium one is kind of like a slightly mid-pushed low gain overdrive that can, with the gain knob and the tone knob, can also get to relatively saturated. Then the mid switch is a tube screamer setting, and the bottom switch is a treble booster setting, where when you roll the tone in, it rolls out the bass, which is very useful for when using it with an overdriven amp. And then on this side you have the two stage, which is kind of like a mid to high gain distortion. You have the hard clipping, which is a high gain distortion. And I say distortion because you would naturally assume these are distortions, but it does sort of, in a way that I can't explain, retain an overdrive character rather than a distortion character, but more of that in the audio example. And then at the bottom you've got this JFET boost, which is just a straightforward clean boost with a drive knob and a volume knob and a tone knob. So what you would do is set each of these sides to however you want them if you're going to use it as a standalone unit, and then either turn on your overdrive A, overdrive B, or both. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of what this is. Like I said, it's my first Strymon pedal. I've been incredibly impressed. It is really, really an amazing sounding unit, and let's take a listen to it, I guess. Here you go. Okay, so for this demo, it's my very much standard Telecaster, right? So this is a Fender Classic Series 60 style Telecaster with rosewood neck and just regular Telecaster pickups. It's a Mex Fender. Plugged into the Sunset, and then the Sunset plugged straight into the clean channel of my Koch Studio Tone 20 head, which is using its emulated output, just analog emulated output, straight into the interface, which is a Scarlett 6i6 plugged into Logic. And for the clean sound, before I turn on the pedal, here are all three pickup settings. So here's a bridge. So the tone rolled off slightly with the full tone. I like to have the bright switch on when I'm playing a Fender. In fact, at the moment, it's not on. It's in the neutral position. You can also cut top end and add top end, and I have the mid pushed on the amplifier. Okay, and then that's the middle setting now, and the next. So that's what the clean sound sounds like. It's very clean. So I go to the back pickup. It's not breaking up at all. Okay, so with the Sunset, setting all the controls at noon. Bridge pickup, tone rolled off slightly because it's very bright. Full tone. Probably have it about there. So the first geranium setting on side A. Full tone. Okay, so what I would do here is I would back the drive off slightly and give it a bit more tone. Middle setting. This is a serious overdrive pedal. Neck pickup. Okay, and rolling the drive up so you get the same idea but with a more distorted sound. Rolling the drive up full. More than I would ever really use, to be honest, but the geranium setting seems to be like a slightly mid boosted but kind of transparent drive sound. So on the back pickup with the drive high, tone up full. So it can very much act as a heavy overdrive pedal. So moving on to the Tube Screamer setting then, which is the Texas sound. It's rounder, there's less top end, more push mids. You kind of have the tone on full, I think, if you wanted on the guitar for this. Even that bluesy thing. Kind of sounds like a Tube Screamer. So with the drive backed off more, tone backed off a little. Or something like that. So it does the bluesy thing. The bluesy thing's not really my bag, to be honest. And then you have the treble booster. So again, all knobs up full. Back pickup. Sorry, yeah, back pickup. Clean. Back pickup. So you can see a serious amount of bass going away. The more you roll the tone on, the less bass end there is. So if I roll the tone completely off, it should be transparent. Effectively makes it a clean boost, right? So that's the treble booster. So that's side A. Moving on to side B. So again, rolling my tone on my guitar off slightly. Here is the 2-stage overdrive with all the knobs up full. Delicious overdrive. I don't quite know how to explain this, but something I found with this pedal is it's one of the few pedals that it has a high gain overdrive option. Excuse me. But it never really veers into distortion territory, and it is high gain. Still sounds like an overdrive pedal. So tone backed off a little bit. And the tone up high. There's really a lot going on with this Telecaster with the tone up high, so probably backed off to the middle. Drive low. Brilliant overdrive pedal, just fantastic. Neck pickup. Definitely I would use this 2-stage overdrive with the gain backed off as my principal low gain overdrive sound. Or possibly I'd roll the gain up and roll the volume down. Sounds like a Telecaster. So then we're into the hard clipping, which is apparently the heaviest sound on the pedal. So maybe a bit more tone. You can really do so much with this pedal. And then lastly, there is the FET. So this is, I think, and I could be wrong about this, I think when you put it in the FET boost stage in the B side, there's no digital modelling involved. It's literally the MOSFET preamp that's coming in on. I could be wrong about that though. It's lovely. Boost. A bit more drive. Off. On. Very, very, very capable pedal with single coils. I'm just going to grab my other Telecaster quickly with humbuckers and have a listen to that. Okay, so what I've done now is I've switched to my 72 thin line Telecaster with wide range humbuckers. So these are, for me, exactly halfway between a single coil and a humbucker, more so than a P90 even. So I've also switched to a dirty channel on the amplifier, and it's only barely dirty. For a slightly more gainy sound. So starting with the Geranium Overdrive with all the controls straight up. It's probably a little bit too much bass end on that for me, so I'm going to roll the tone up slightly. It's like a slightly heavier version was already there. With more push mids for sure. And then moving on to the Tube Screamer, or the Texas side. Again, thicker, less top end. It's a great overdrive sound. Then moving down to the Treble Booster. Without it. You can hear it ramping off a little bit of bottom end, and then over to the heavier side. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. 2-stage overdrive. Oh, glorious. So really interesting. That's a riff from one of my band's songs, and I struggle to find an overdrive pedal to put in front of a slightly dirty amp that can make it dirty enough but still have enough note definition, and that really does it really well. So yeah, really liking that. And then onto the 2-stage side. Great for riffs. Slightly less tone, maybe. So they're similar, but there's a bit more mid in the, sorry about the noise, there's a bit more mid in the hard clipping one, and then down to the boost. Dodgy selector switch. So that's really interesting. The boost drives it really hard. You get that like vintage Marshall thing here where it's like, you know, exploding amp thing. That can record really, really well. So yeah, and then if I go up to, say, hard, or say 2-stage for my main distortion sound, right? And then I want to drive it into a solo. I'll put it on the Texas setting, so. Probably don't need that much gain. I'd probably only use that if I was in the playing through the clean channel, but I'm playing through the dirty channel very much now. It's Tube Screamer. Nicer solo sound. So I think if you're playing to a dirty channel, I wouldn't be stacking them, or I certainly wouldn't be stacking them with these settings, but I've played it a good bit and it does stack really, really well. So yeah, like, interestingly, I think this sounds, in my experience, sounds better through an amp and cab than it does through a cab simulation or an IR. It's like a very analog sounding digital pedal, and I really, really love it. It's very like forward, aggressive sounding overdrive pedal when you want it to be. Very impressive. So there you go, the Strymon Sunset. There we go. So what I say about this? At €250 used, it's the most expensive overdrive pedal I've ever bought, and particularly through a loud tube amp through a speaker, which I couldn't use for this demo here at home, but I have tried it at my studio through a loud tube amp. It's extremely good. It's got a lot of different overdrive characteristics that are available to you. It's very, very versatile, and the quality of all the sounds is extremely high. I'll get into the other video next week about its functionality and why I think its functionality is what really sets it apart. It can do so many different things. So there you go, the Strymon Sunset part 1. Like, this is just about the sounds available in the pedal. In part 2, I'll be getting into the functionality available in it. So there you go. Thanks for watching, as always. If you've gotten this far and you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe, and hit the notifications bell, obviously, so you can be kept up to date. And drop a comment below. Let me know what you think of the sounds I got out of the pedal and what your experiences with this are as well, if you have one. Cool. All right. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you for part 2 soon. Take it easy. Bye bye.